I'm gonna just sit right here. I'm gonna sit right here. I'm gonna sit right here.
Don't take your spot.
Yeah, he didn't say much, right?
You're special guest. You're supposed to be in the middle. So where it goes, the difference from what it was back then to is now, self-improvement, and love languages. Start off.
All right?
Yeah, come on.
All right. So, in 3, 2, 1, it's a clap. All right?
Okay.
I got you. I got you. I understand. I'm gonna be again. All right?
Yeah, let's go.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Hoodnerdspodcast, where we talk about relationships, we talk about trending topics, we talk about anime, anything from A to Z.
All that other stuff.
And
I'm not gonna curse today because we have a
we have a very
special guest with us here today. No problem.
Our video is with the Miss Essence.
The lovely Miss
Miss
Essence.
Essence.
Hey everyone, also known as the Coffee Connoisseur.
Talk about it.
So, you got to. So,
Absolutely.
today we're going to be talking about love languages, self-improvement, the differences between dating from now and a little bit back then. She ain't too old. She ain't old like that. She ain't look like that. But the differences in dating in the past couple years. So we're gonna let you start with love languages, not to put you on the spot or anything.
Oh wow, yeah, great way to put me on the spot.
You want to talk about your love languages?
Sure. For one thing, I would say starting off first, I would say that love languages are important, and I didn't really realize what it was or how important it was until starting to get up into this adult world and really getting serious about dating. And I never forget, I was getting to know this guy, and he was married for 11 years, divorced his wife, and he was like, oh, we figured out that we didn't know what each other's love language was. And I was like, oh, really? I was like, I kind of heard of that. Like, what is it? So he told me about the quiz and, told me a little more about it. And I took it myself. And as I started doing more research, I was like, oh, this is really important because my love language is quality time. And that is just something that is very important to me. Like, I don't care how much money you spend on me or what you try to buy for me or things of that nature, but to me time is valuable, and it's one of the most valuable things that we can have because that's something that we can't give back. And so if you're able to give me your time and be really genuine and meaningful about how we spend it with each other, to me that just it just means a lot. And so when I found that out, I didn't realize that oh, you know what, I love quality time, and I know that's how I like to receive love, but I didn't realize that I was maybe pushing how I want to receive love on somebody else. It felt as though because I love quality time, I have to show my partner quality time. And of course, you want to make sure you're showing your partner all of those things. However, just because that's how I like to receive love, that's what I love, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what they really want.
I agree.
In return. And so just getting to know what my love language is, and like I said, know how other people love to receive love, to me just helps people love better.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Because my love language is quality time as well. It's really, I didn't realize it before until a friend of mine had taken a test on me and asked me a bunch of questions, and I figured it out that my number one was quality time, and it made sense because really for me, it's not about what you give me or really what you say, because a lot of the times actions for me speaks louder than words.
Oh, absolutely.
So a lot of times a lot of people's words don't really back up their actions, but I really just like spending time with the people that I'm close with like that. And it doesn't even have to be we do anything significant or anything like that. It's really just the presence of another person, the presence of the person that I really value like that, and just being with them. We don't have to talk too much or anything like that. Just your presence and your company alone, that really comforts me, and it really shows me how you feel about me personally. And I also learned the difference that how I like being loved and appreciated and shown love is very different from how my significant other likes to be loved. So I had to learn that along the way as well.
For me personally, my love language, so my number one is physical touch. That's my number one. And then my close second is words of affirmation. But I should have took the time out to actually learn what love languages was, because I was in a situation where I was like, the girl necessarily wasn't like a physical touch type of person. And I was like, oh, like in my head, in my young mind, I was just like, oh, you don't really like me like that for real.
Yeah.
And that became the weirdest situation in the world. But then afterwards, I was like, okay, like we could sit down, we could talk about it. And then she was like, here's like quality time, and then like acts of service, and minus physical touch. So there was a huge, like we didn't have one thing in common. So it was like a big disconnect for me. But now I know that I want to touch you. You know what I'm saying? That's my letting you know that I love you, and then I want to say it because like maybe I'm just good with words or something. So that's for me. So.
And that emphasizes the importance of communication as well.
Definitely.
Which a lot of people struggle, people in our generation as well, people in general struggle with as well, communicating how they feel or how they like to be loved properly. Because if there's no communication, or matter of fact, comprehension, as that understanding,
Facts.
I could communicate as much as I want to, how I feel,
message, though.
but if you don't comprehend what I'm saying to you, if you're not understanding what I'm saying, then it doesn't really make a difference. And that's something I feel like we lack a lot in this generation as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess the piggyback off what you said, it kind of reminds me of the saying that I've heard like my mom and just like other elders will say. Well, I'm not saying she's old or anything, but they would say, you know, listen to not to speak, but listen to understand. And so that's something that we definitely, and I know even myself, I had to like really learn. Because sometimes we could miss out what somebody's actually saying to us because we already jumping in our head like, you're talking to me right now, but already I'm trying to figure out what I'm about to say back to you. You see what I'm saying? And so that can definitely cause like a disconnect in the communication. But it kind of goes back to as well being willing to even have that conversation. So like how you said you thought the young lady wasn't interested or whatever because like she wasn't a touchy-feely person. What if you wouldn't have that conversation with her? You just was like, you know what, I don't think she liked me because every time I touch her, she keep moving away. So I'ma just, you know, I'ma end it here. But you see what I'm saying? But y'all could have, like, you know, whatever, I'm not sure how far, you know, that situation with her went or whatever. But like, you could have just cut off like a great possibility to have a relationship with her, even a friendship, just because you just jump to conclusions without sitting to say, hey, can I talk to you about something real quick? This is, you know, kind of been bothering me or something that I'd have a concern, and I just wanted to bring it up to you. And you know, at the end of the day, it's not about like what you say, it's really about how you say it. So I feel as though like a respectable, you know, human being, understandable human being will be able to take that and be appreciative that you were able to bring that up to them.
It's funny y'all saying that because like on one of the first podcasts I was saying like communication is so big, like you can't get nowhere without communication. You can't, like it's not gonna go nowhere. You gotta see what each other is strong at and what each other is weak at and help build on that, you know. And just growing is a big thing too, and you can only grow with communication. And
I definitely agree with that. For like me in the situation, we like had that conversation like a year or two down the line, and I felt dumb. I was just like, she was like, I actually really just liked you a lot, like, and we just wasn't on the same page. And in my head, I'm young and I'm dumb and I got a crush and I'm just emotional and all that stuff. And like I missed out on an opportunity that like we could have went farther. It didn't end up going farther, like I urged you down the line. But then I was like, I'm gonna note that in the communications. Closed mouths don't get fed, pretty much.
Yes,
That's how it goes.
yes.
Closed mouths don't get fed. Slow feet don't eat. You already
Come
know.
on.
So I gotta talk it out. No one's a mind reader, and if you are, then you're a very lucky human being.
We got blessed with some superpower that nobody
what's the
else
worst?
has.
What's the worst can happen?
Because the amount of times I wish like I could read my significant other's mind and like tell like how they were feeling, like because like I said, and it goes back to the first episode. Major turn off for me is lack of communication because I'm an overthinker. So if you don't communicate with me about how you're feeling, and that leads me to overthink scenarios and situations and try to fix a problem I don't even know is there. So it's like if you don't communicate with me about how you're feeling, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix it. So,
but I also like I do agree. I'm the same way, but like I want to make it to know like it's okay if you don't know how to do something, I can help you. Like, you know, like I want to offer that to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, because some people feel like they don't. Well, if they tell you what they really feeling, it's gonna scare you away. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make it known. Like, I'm not judging you. I like I'm here for you. You know what I'm saying? That's always how I am. So
There was a girl I was dating a long time ago.
Cut. Speak up.
Sorry. There was a girl
What did we just say?
I was talking to a long time ago, and she didn't like talk about a lot of her issues, and I would always like, hey, what's wrong? Like, you know, you can talk to me, and she always thought like, she said it one time after we broke up. She said, you know, I don't talk to people about my stuff because I feel like they're gonna use it for bad reasons, and I'm like, I feel you, but like, if you and I, my thing is if I'm with you, I take the time to be like, yeah, you and me, we together. Like, I put a little heart emoji next to your name on my phone.
It's official,
that means I got you, right? I'm trying to hold you down. And so my thing is, a lot of people have that feeling, I think, that if I tell my issues to someone, then they gonna use it as a way to manipulate or control or just use it just to be evil. Like, I'm about to tell somebody's business out there.
I will say, look at that with some type of nuance, because it's not really you, it's the deeper, it's in the past.
Yep.
When like people didn't like want to hear the issues in terms of like their family and their upbringing. So then also like for me, I kind of shoulder it that weight on me as like, maybe I'm not doing a good job of making them feel comfortable enough, but if you're doing a good job, then it's just like, that's something in the past that they got to work on themselves.
Yeah.
You can't really save them from that. You can try your best to push them in the right direction, but just like maybe their parents like weren't good at listening to their issues, or maybe you know how older people be like, you too young to be stressed, you ain't got no bills or nothing like that. So they probably feel like their opinions was invalid.
Yep.
How do y'all feel about people coming into a relationship like, I don't want to say with not even unhealed, but like with baggage like that they have going on, or they're carrying something from past relationships or past friendships, and they bring it into another relationship, and it kind of
I'm not gonna lie, that happened to me like almost every time. Like every time, like that's why I was telling y'all the other day, like how I felt, cause like it happens every time. Like I'm always getting always feel like I'm finding myself getting put with like, you know, you've been through this, like it like excludes what I've like experienced.
disregards.
Yeah, like you know what I'm saying? Like it's like nothing I'm saying matters. I'm a follower.
No, go. No, I'm with you.
It's like nothing I say or how I feel matters. It's all about you, and that's fine. Like I can understand that, but sometimes you gotta be mindful of how I feel too as a man. You know.
Right. I will say I've been through my fair share of manipulation through my times. So through my day. So there was times where I would get in a relationship after like a big breakup, and I get in another relationship with somebody, and I still have that little lingering thought like, oh, this person's not gonna last because this happened. You know, so I personally feel like you gotta look to yourself and know like you gotta go through a whole bunch of like self-healing processes and all that stuff, all that good stuff, and you gotta just know this is who I am. You gotta push past it, understand that's your past, and learn from it. But when you go through a new relationship, you gotta start new. You gotta legit start new.
And one of my issues is when I really like want to fix things. Like if I feel like I can fix it, I want to fix it. And if I can't fix it, like it drives me up the wall. Like I'm like I can help. I can fix this.
I can stop
But
this.
you know what? That's not your place to fix somebody else. And so I guess like just sitting here and just listening so far to the conversation, I think there's a lot of things in our society, but I would say particularly in the black community where we glorify toxicity. And one of the most toxic things that I've heard like in songs, movies, whatever the case in media is that I want somebody who can complete me or whatever, like you my better half, like all that kind of stuff. And like as I've gotten older and just getting just wiser and just like living life, is like no, that is pure BS. Like no, like I don't want somebody to complete me. I have to be able to find happiness in myself. As cliche as it sounds, the best love is self-love. Yep. It all starts first. Any type of the foundation of like you being in a relationship, whether that's platonic, romantic, whatever the case may be, you have to have self-love. You have to be able to find happiness within yourself. because you're going to be miserable if you're trying to seek that for somebody else. Because if they fulfill it and it's only temporary, but now like the love or the happiness you found with them, now that start to weigh up. Now you starting to scatter and find, you know what I'm saying, trying to search for someplace else. So you have to be like confident and content within yourself, just knowing like, you know what, I'm happy with just being me. You know what I'm saying? I'm happy with who I am. And then when you're able to do that, and you're healed from certain situations, then you bring somebody else into a healthy space. You see what I'm saying? Or whatever. To me, hurt people. So if I'm hurt, now I'm dealing with somebody else that's hurting. Like, all we're gonna do is hurt each other. Like, we're not. How hurt doesn't equal happy. You see what I'm saying? Like, that make the equation make sense. It doesn't. So it's important to me, like, that's one of the biggest things. Like, if you're really trying to date, especially with dating with intention, like, you have to make sure you've healed yourself from past certain situations, or you're in the healing process, like you're like well deep within the healing process. Because again, like, you never want to, like I said, bring somebody in an environment to where they can get hurt, and then of course you don't want to get yourself hurt in the end as well. And so to me, that's like very important. Like, if you still trying to heal from certain situations, you're not ready for dating.
And I hate to say this, but like, it was because I'm the type of person that always like to see the good in people, like, no matter what. And I hate to say this, I'm a victim of this, because it's been plenty of times that you deal with hurt people, and you start to think to yourself, like, so you know when you're not fully there, where you're not fully healed, complete, or when something's, yourself better than anybody else. So when you're not fully there. So you make the active decision to get involved with somebody knowing you're not fully healed. I feel like I'm a victim of this. I always felt like that was selfish of that person, because if you really did care about that other person's well-being that you're dealing with, you would put yourself in that situation, or even put yourself in that situation in the first place, instead of just fixing yourself. I'm not really right for this person right now, or I'm not really fully there mentally, nothing like that, bro. I'm still in this past relationship, but you still choose to be involved with that significant other and have them grow feelings for you and get attached and everything like that, knowing you're not fully healed. I feel like that's selfish.
I will say that, like, maybe we've hit the point where, like, self-reflection is an easy thing for me to do, but for, like, self-reflection isn't the easiest thing in the world for a lot of people to do.
Some people can't do
Some people just
they need peer review. They need peer review sometimes.
They need peer review, and a lot of people they do need peer review. You gotta read over my paper, so it's like self-reflection isn't as easy as like we may make it seem, because we've reached that point where we're able to do so.
We're like, I'm good. I got all my stuff straight, and then something happens. You like, oh, guess I did it.
Yeah,
but I don't want to hurt this person now.
Pushing down, and it's too late. Y'all already too invested. Right. Y'all love each other. Y'all cute and cuddly. Like, it's in too deep.
I will say I'm with Dylan on that sense of but if you do know, if you do know you have baggage from past relationships, if you do know that you have a tendency to do this, and that,
and actively choose that. That's
actively choose. Then that's messed up. I knew a dude who would he liked a girl, and he would wait months before he would talk to her, because he wanted to get his stuff straight. So he was like trying to buy a car one time, and he was like, I want to talk to this girl, but I gotta buy this car, so then I can have my stuff straight. I can have my stuff straight. Hello.
Hey.
How y'all doing? You're gonna come back.
Y'all doing a great job, man.
You're gonna come back. What was that?
About how the dude wants about.
Oh yeah, so he would like, let me get my working situation right. Let me get a better situation for my money. Let me do this stuff. Which then in turn he would go, all right, let me talk to this girl now that I got my situation stuff straight out.
Those are two different things.
Now yes, 100%. That's what I'm about to say. Even as materialistic as that is, because he's worried about like his money and all that stuff. But some people should do that with their own mental and self-image and all that stuff, But you said something that I liked when you was talking about dating with intentions. I don't think people date with intentions anymore.
We just vibe.
We don't.
We talked about this.
It's a lot about just go with the flow,
We talked about this on the first one. Like, people want to dodge responsibility. They dodge labels.
Yeah.
So they instead of saying, "Oh, this is my girlfriend," "This is my boyfriend," they say,
We're
"Oh,
talking.
we vibing.
We're
We
talking.
talking.
We vibing."
This girl I'm talking to." Y'all been on dates now.
If it's been
Y'all went to
after
the
a month,
movies. Like
If
that's
it's been
a
after a
date.
month of daily, like, it's
If you
something going on.
get a
out with each
good
other
morning
on a
text,
regular basis,
y'all a date.
yeah, hanging out with each other on a regular basis, good morning texts, going out on dates.
But some people just scared of commitment.
She
too.
asking you, did you eat today?
Yeah, I was about to say,
Like,
what's the thing
bro,
you said?
like,
Did you eat today?
But I guess it goes back to the point that people are not honest with what they want and what their intentions are in the first place, and being real. Like I said, just being real with themselves. Like, hey, like, I'm not ready for a relationship right now, and to me, that's okay. But make sure that you are clearly communicating
Right.
that with your partner, because at the end of the day, I always say it like this or whatever. Like, you play your cards. It's like we playing a card game, we playing spades or whatever. You show me your book, and then I'm gonna go around and I'm gonna show you my hand. Either like you're saying like, hey, this is what I want. I want a relationship. I'm just like dating casually right now, or whatever. This is what I got. This is what I'm bringing to the table, and I'm coming back to the table and I'm saying, well, here are my cards, or whatever. I want to be in a committed relationships. We put our card on the table. At the end of the day, either we both have the opportunity to decide if we want to continue to play or not.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And so with that, for me, I'm gonna have to say, no matter how much money you make, how fine you look, or whatever, it's a pass for me because I know I don't want that and I'm not settling for that. You see what I'm saying? However, what we do is we don't have those conversations in the beginning about like what are we looking for, you know, because that's like the first thing I do. Like, say if I'm on a dating app, that's like within the first couple of back and forth questions and responses we have with each other, I'm asking, so what brings you to this app? What are you looking for? Like that sort of thing. So I can know either we gonna continue on in our conversation, or you know what? Well, it was nice meeting you. Take care.
Yeah.
You know, I wish you well.
I wish you well. I wish
You
you
know,
best,
like
yeah.
you know that sort of thing, or whatever. Because like I don't have time for wasted time. Again, we can't get time back, right? Or whatever. So you know, I don't have time for that. So I feel as though like you have to be clear in communicating what you want and what you looking for. Now, if the guys say, hey, I'm just casually dating, I'm not trying to be in a committed relationship, and I said, well, I want a committed relationship, but I'm going to continue to play along with you, I can do that. However, let me not, I'm not saying that I'm entitled to my emotions, but to me, I feel as though I can't feel no type of way if he hurt my feelings in the end or whatever, because he told me up front this is where he was. But because sometimes we think, oh, I can fix that, I can change somebody's mind. No, listen, when somebody tell you what it is up front, believe them.
I'm not gonna lie. It's been mad times where I wanted, like, I do disagree, because I feel like people saying something, like, you could say to me, yo, this is what I want, like, off rip, I want this, 100%. But if your actions show me, once again, actions speak louder than words to me. If you can say it all you want, but if you show me this, you show me you want something different, you show me that you want the same thing I want, your actions are saying that you want the same thing that I want, I'm gonna go off your actions, because like I said, a lot of people don't back up what they say. But because, like, and then later on down the line, shit, things don't work out how they're supposed to, you go back to, well, I said this. Well, that doesn't excuse the way you're acting right now. But that doesn't excuse the way.
You see, that's another thing. I'm just gonna say that's why you have to watch out. People manipulate.
Yep.
People will go off because I know what you want, what you're looking for. I'm going to try to conform and be what you're looking for until I get what I want from you, and then I'm done.
Yep.
So you have to be really careful. Make sure not just actions speak louder than words, but I'm all for make sure that your words and your actions align. If your words and your actions are not aligning, that's a red flag. That's a problem.
We talked about this like a long time ago. Lying is a part of the game now. Like, that's what's the craziest part. You gotta lie and you gotta finesse. But the thing about you have to, like, we put it out there, like, in media, like, you gotta finesse, you gotta do that. But you don't really have to. You can keep it a beam with people.
Yep.
But like if you lie during like when you trying to, you know, you're trying to get her to like you, or she trying to get the dude to like her, and y'all lie, the base is shaky. Once the base shaky, it don't matter how high y'all go, that base is gonna hold.
Okay, that foundation fall.
The whole foundation just don't mean nothing. So lying shouldn't be a part of the game, especially if you want to seriously date.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to seriously find somebody that you can connect with, then it's just like.
Yeah, and I will say, you know, there's been times where I've been talking to I was talking to this girl one time, and she was going through some things, and she broke up with her boyfriend because God won't a good person, right? And she liked that I was helping her go through that stuff. So then later down, we dated for a little bit, but she was in love with someone else whole time. And but you know, because I said it, I was like, you did this before. You know, you said you liked me, but you was like 2 weeks later you said you was in love with somebody. So like, I just want to know that's not gonna happen. No, that's not gonna happen.
The foundation was shaky.
It won't even days later.
Foundation was shaky.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right. That's what I'm
You
saying.
catching her off a rebound.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
Exactly.
That's
That's what I'm
Exactly.
talking about. Like people used to, you know how people would always be talking about like, I'm still this dude, girl. The same way you call her, is the same way.
So you gonna be
Yeah.
exactly how you gonna know
Yeah.
some.
Yeah. That's gonna happen right to you, and you gonna be like, oh dang,
Yeah, so
I don't even know what happened.
So, Miss Estes, can I ask you, what do you look for in a significant other? Really?
I feel as though if I were to sit here and say everything that's on my list, that would probably take too much
Let's do like a
time.
top three,
Yeah.
or you don't have to say it.
You know what? I would just say, I guess like my top three are things that I really look for. Is somebody that that loves God and has a relationship with God. My faith is very important to me. It's the foundation of who I am, and I have to make sure, and I want to make sure because I'm dating with intention to one day be married. I'm going to speak that up into the atmosphere. That I want to make sure that the guy that I'm dating and we're equally yoked. Like basically, like we're on the same page about that. Also, too, I'm interested in someone who is just who can just be their true, authentic self, and don't fake the funk with me. Just give me you, because that's all I can do is be me and give you me. And then two, three, somebody who is, I would say just like somebody who's like emotionally available. I might do like 5. Or whatever. Like somebody who's emotionally available, who's prepared emotionally, mentally, all of that or whatever to receive what I'm giving and vice versa, and they know that they are available to be in a committed relationship. And somebody who's just respectable, like respectful to me, respectful to themselves, respectful to others, who's just kind, treat others like the way that they should. Just like the stuff that you generate for good people.
Right.
It's just the stuff that I look for. Someone who is humorous, you know, like make me laugh or whatever, but don't be too witty now, because I don't like that or whatever, and I can get real sarcastic with you, you know, but, you know, just overall, just somebody I can like I said, just really just be me around.
Listen.
And unapologetically be around.
I got a question. Do you have you experienced, or were you paid to someone, or have you experienced a lot of pettiness in relationships?
Pettiness. Define like pettiness as in how? What is it like?
Being passive aggressive on like certain actions instead of just really just being straight up. But yeah,
Like if I don't come back home at a certain time, like it's because I
You
had a
just
bad
say,
agreement.
Okay.
Walk off.
Yeah.
You know, pettiness can like be a whole range of things, so that's why I asked or whatever. I would say, of course, I have plenty of stories actually. Oh gosh, y'all. I'm like, where should I start? One time I had a guy that I met off a dating app. We were communicating for maybe I would say maybe about 2 months or so. We ended up going on like one date. But things, started to seem like potential was there. And I never forget, I started to see a shift in his communication with me. So I was like, oh, I said, this is a flag. So I knew I didn't like it. Yeah, it was just like things were great. Communication was great, and then all of a sudden it's just like shifted. I barely heard from him via text, and I don't too much care for a lot of texting either. He stopped really like FaceTiming as much, all that kind of stuff, and I was just like, what's going on? And I remember I was just like, you know what? I can't deal with this, y'all. My tolerance level is like at a 0. And I was like, oh, I ain't got time for this or whatever. So I remember I left some cards at his house. It was like a conversation type of dating type of cards. And I was like, oh, it's not my cards. I need to get the cards back or whatever. So I was like, let me ask him for the cards back. I'm going to get my cards back, and then I'm done with this dude or whatever. And so I remember I reached out to him about the cards, and he was like, yeah, I could come over now and get them. So when I came over and got him, he could tell too that it was just a shift in my attitude towards him. And so he was like, what's wrong? Let's talk. Like, what's going on? And so I told him how I felt, like there was a shift in, in our communication. I didn't understand what was going on. And he was just like, well, I'm just going through a lot. And, even my mom and my sister said that I was just being a little distant and stuff like that. So that's interesting that you said that, but I'm going to do better. I apologize. Come and give me a hug. When you get home, let me know. I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you once you get home or whatever. I'm going to FaceTime you. I got something to do. I'm going to FaceTime you afterwards. I said, okay, cool, bet. I got home. Time started moving by. An hour went by. Didn't get a call. 2 hours went by. I didn't get a call. I said, you know what? At 12 a.m., if I don't hear from him, that's it. I never heard from him since. And so I was like, that's interesting. You basically lied in my face. You see what I'm saying? Or whatever. And to me, I can't trust anyone like that. Or whatever. So I was like, great. Or whatever. To me, I'd be like, God be blocking me from the counterfeits. So I was like, okay, God, thank you. He wasn't it. Bye-bye. On to the next. I've had a guy, we dated for 3 months. Really like great guy, had a good time together, and I just thought we had looked so good together, y'all. He was chocolate, I was chocolate. I was like, oh my gosh, like we had looked so good, like a Hershey's pack of chocolate. And like we just vibed very well, and we even had like conversations about like, if we were to get married and all that kind of stuff. And I never forget. I started to feel like, there's a little shift in our communication. Oh my gosh, always listen to your intuition. I'm telling you, your gut be telling you the truth. I'm telling you, like you don't want to believe it because it's just like, you wrong. No, your gut be telling you the truth. And so I was just like, but let me not read into it too much or whatever the case may be. So I'll never forget, I was on a work trip, matter of fact, and that morning of the last morning of our trip, I remember he sent me a text. I woke up to a text, and he was just telling me, like, hey, I'm going through a lot right now, and basically how he's not able to date right now, and he didn't want it to lead me on. And it's not me, it's just him. He just need to get himself together. And I'm just like, sir, we beyond past the point of you leading me on. I was like, make it make sense. And then you're not going to send this to me in a text message and just think that's it or whatever. So I ended up calling him, and we ended up having a conversation. And like I said, he just basically told me he was just not ready to date at this time. And like he enjoyed, he thinks I'm a great person, like it's not me, but he just gotta get himself together, and all that kind of stuff. And y'all, like that thing hurt me so bad. I remember like I had cried a little, got myself together, went into like the main lobby area where we were meeting up to get ready to leave. And I'll never forget one of my coworkers, she looked at me and she could have tell like something was wrong. She was like, Essence, what's wrong with you? I was like, and she just grabbed me quick and we just went outside and I just started crying some more. And like I said, it took me a little while to really like heal from that situation. It really hurt because like I said, I really thought like something was there. And after, you know, I was able to like, you know, process the situation, just self-reflect. Like I ended up learning a lot from that situation. I learned that I needed to stop rushing into the romantic side with someone so fast and focus more on establishing the friendship first. I learned that I needed to basically, like I said, listen to my intuition. Because so far it didn't steer me wrong or whatever. So, you know, I definitely need to like listen, you know, to that. And at the end of the day, like I learned that, you know, a lot of people are going to come in our lives, you know, and they're either going to be there, you know, for a season, a long-term reason, or, you know, whatever the case may be. And I just had to come to the realization that he was only supposed to be in my life for a season. So instead of me moping over the situation, self-reflect on it. What can I learn from this? So when I move on to, you know, dating someone else or whatever, I can avoid, you know, encountering something like this again. You see what I'm saying? So it was definitely that. I thought it was petty because he was like, maybe it wasn't petty, but I thought it was petty. And he tried to check on me later on that day. It was like, oh, I just want to check on you. And I was just like, well, what does this mean? Like, what, like, I don't understand. So do we not talk anymore or whatever? He was like, no, I'm gonna still hit you up. And I was like, well, maybe I was petty because I was just like, no, I'm not about to hit you up. You said you need to take a step back from dating, so I'm gonna give you all your space. And I never heard back from him until like later. You know, that sort of thing.
How
so
you been?
yeah, you know, happy birthday.
Happy
You
birthday
know,
text,
Yo.
yeah, like happy birthday.
I hope your family's doing well.
Yeah.
It be
Okay,
Merry Christmas,
like,
it be Christmas song.
Oh, man.
It's the season to give it. How you doing?
No.
Why?
It's so that like really got interesting. And I think there's one more really petty one. Well, it's plenty, but there's one more I think I should share with y'all because this was really petty. This was like summer of 17. I was in New Orleans for an internship at Dillard University. Y'all, that was like one, I would say like one, hands down, one of the best summers of my life. That was my first time in New Orleans, and I was there for a month and 2 weeks. And during the summertime, I was like, oh, this is great. So I was down there and I was on my apps or whatever, and ended up meeting this guy.
You from North?
No, so what happened was I had beat him on the ghetto Plenty of Fish. I'm not gonna, y'all, no, I ain't gonna talk about Plenty of Fish, but y'all, okay. And so he was in the military and he was stationed at a base like maybe 4 hours away. And so our conversation, the connection got so good. He was like, I'm going to come and visit you. I was like, okay. I was like, okay. So he came and he visited me. Like, we just clicked off the bat. Very strong connection or whatever. Like, you couldn't tell us we were in a relationship. Maybe you could have. But anyway, so like the connection was really good. But I know towards, because he came over and like came to New Orleans, and he stayed in New Orleans for maybe about like 2 or 3 days. Red flag number one that I should have paid attention to. When he was getting ready to leave, I remember before he left, we were talking, and he was just saying like, okay, so like, where's this going? I want us to be in a relationship, you know, take this stronger. And I was like, to be honest, I'm not sure. Like, I don't live here. I'm only here temporarily. I have to go back to Georgia. That's where I was doing grad school at. And I was like, I don't know, like this long distance, you stationed here, you know, and all this kind of stuff. I was like, I just don't know how that's going to work. He didn't like that. And so I remember when he left, he ended up texting me this long message about basically he was gaslighting me, like trying to make me feel guilty because I would try to pursue anything more with him, and trying to say that I didn't like him.
No, that's crazy.
And I was just like, oh, like what or whatever. I do like you. What do you mean and stuff like that. I was just saying, like, I don't know how that's gonna work. Like, you know, I'm in grad school, I'm in Georgia, you here in Louisiana, like you're stationed, like you're active and all this kind of stuff in the military. Like, I don't know how that works. And so we ended up having a conversation and squashed it, y'all. Like I said, red flag number one. Whatever. And so before I ended up leaving, because we ended up talking like every day afterwards, and before I ended up leaving New Orleans, he came back again to see me. So we, like I said, established like, hey, we're gonna still date and see, you know, where it goes from there. He make sure he come visit me, yada yada yada. So he ended up like a couple of months later, he did come and visit me where I was in Georgia. He kind of like popped up. I didn't know he was coming. He was just like, hey, I'm here in your city. Weird. And I was just like, what? But I thought it was romantic. I said, oh my gosh, like he came and he just showed up, and this is so cool. And so and so he came, you know, spent some time with me, yada yada yada, had a great time. So a couple of months more down the road, you know, we still connected, and I'll never forget this. One night, I know he was going through like a lot of personal issues and stuff like that or whatever. And one night, I guess it got to the point where he had it to hear. And you know how sometimes people take their frustrations and put it out onto other people. So we ended up into one of those situations. I don't know, it kind of like went from 0 to 100 like real quick. All I remember is we were talking, he was biting on his hoodie string, and I told him, can you stop doing that? Because he was trying to talk to me and it was distracting. And I was like, can you stop biting on that? And I made the comment like, you know, your parents would say, you know, grandparents would say, don't act your age, not your shoe size. So that's what I said to him, and that, I guess, flipped his lid. He was just like, okay, you know what? I gotta go, or whatever. And I was like, okay, cool, bet. So we got off because we were on Skype, or whatever. Oh, y'all, Skype. Who does that anymore? Oh my God. So he got off the Skype, and he started texting me, started going off, like talking reckless via text. Just saying, oh, who you talking to? Or whatever. You talk about act your age, not your shoe size, but your room look like a girl's room, a kiddie room. I was like, well, technically I am a girl, so I don't know what she wanted to look like, because I had pink curtains, like that cursed me, or whatever. Like, I was like, okay, whatever. He was like, you got a childish looking room, or whatever. He was like, you need to know your role, know your place. I said, oh! I was like, wow. I was like, whoa. I said, he is going crazy.
It's the fact that he got off the Skype call. He got off the Skype call just to text. You know, like, because for what you said, that's a lot to type. That's a lot to type. Yo, you gotta do.
So this was like going back and forth conversation, but he was just like laying it out on me. And I was just like, know my role. I know you're not my mom and all this kind of stuff. I was just like, so of course I tried to call him. I said, oh, we're not doing, I don't do this. I don't do this. And I said, no. I said, we're going to be like adults, and I'm going to call you. So of course I called him, and he didn't answer. And so, yeah, so he just kept going back and forth, and you know, and I just told him, you know what, I'm not gonna have this with you or whatever. So I just left it alone. So I guess, you know, the silent treatment happened, and so it was maybe about like a week or two went by, and I finally reached out, and I was like, you know what, when you get a chance, please call me. Let's talk or whatever. I feel as though like we're better than this. We can have a conversation, try to rectify this situation, and try to see if we can move on. Never heard from him, and so I ended up going on Facebook to do something or whatever because we were friends on Facebook. Found out he had blocked me. I was like, oh, so you wanna block me? I was like, you the one that came, like, you see what I'm saying, or whatever. You the one started talking at the side of your neck to me, but then you want to block me. So found out that he blocked me, and so the situation was bothering me so bad. I said, you know what, I'm about to call him. So I remember I called him while I was at my assistantship or whatever in the office, and so I called him, and he was like, hello. And so when I was talking to him, I was like, this is Essence, and like there was like a long pause on the phone, so I could tell that he had already deleted my number and didn't recognize it was me calling him. And so I told him, I was like, you know what, I know I could tell he was doing some work or whatever, because of the noise in the background. I was like, I'm at work too. When you get a chance, can you please call me tonight so we can talk? He was like, oh, okay. So that night came, time kept ticking, and I said again, like, I was like, you know what, 12 o'clock comes, I don't hear nothing, then I know
Where we stand.
yeah, where we stand. 12 o'clock came or whatever, and like, I was just like, wow. So like, again, that situation that hurt me too, something I had to pray on, kind of cry over, like it bothered me for a while, but again, I've learned so much from that situation or whatever. Like, that was to me my first time really dealing with a narcissist or whatever, and just somebody who was just very manipulative, and I didn't even know what it was or whatever until like I had to experience that to really understand the concept, what it was. And so that's how it ended. And it's, what's the funniest things, guys? 2 years later, I was here. This was my first year I was working here. I ended up getting an email from him to my work email, and I was like, how, y'all, now mind you, we haven't spoken in over 2 years. So the last time he knew me, I was a graduate student in Georgia. So you didn't even know that I moved or, all that kind of stuff. You don't know where I work, like none of that stuff. He had to Google me.
He got your words.
Yes, it was crazy. He had to Google me. He might have still had like, my information or something. And I did remember I gave him like, I had mailed him like a little care package with like a Bible and some other stuff in it. So he probably kind of tried to start there with my information. But he had to Google me. He found my work email, and he was like, hey, Essence, I just wanted to reach out and see how you doing and all that kind of stuff and yada, yada, yada. I was like, after 2 years?
Oh.
Dead.
You're reaching back out to me?
Dead.
And in his signature, he had like his cell phone number and all that kind of stuff. I was just like,
You
sir.
deleted the email.
Oh, so what I did was, I wrestled with it a little bit. I was like, of course, like that was it. Like it was no coming back. And so part of me was like, should I respond? Should I not respond? And so I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I am going to respond because I want you to know that you no longer have a hold on me, type of situation. So I ended up responding a week later. So yeah, I was petty or whatever. I responded a week later, and I just told him like, hey, I'm doing well, with family all well, hope you are too, take care. And that was it. We never was in contact with each other since. So I'm sorry. So I know, like, I'm gonna stop it here. But guys, when I tell you I've had quite some interesting dating experiences, and I didn't even tell you about the my ex who was trying to marry me because he really needed his green card. So yeah, so like,
Whoa, we're gonna need a part two. We're gonna need a part
That's
two.
a part two.
We're gonna need a part two.
But you know what's the most interesting thing though? Out of everything I've experienced, I would not. I don't regret it. Because I feel as though like this has taught me so much, and it's helped me grow so much. It helped me identify my worth, what I deserve, what I want, what I'm not going to settle for, and and actually just from that or whatever, like I feel as though God placed in my heart the vision for me to start my dating brand and to become a dating coach and to help others when they're dating too, and how to do it in a smart and healthy way. And so, yeah, like I said, I don't regret it. It's interesting. I'm going to have a dating manual one day with these scenarios and experiences in there or whatever. But yeah, I don't regret it. I was like, I had to go through it I feel as though to get to where I am now.
There was a thought that came to my mind. You know, this is a past relationship, but we broke up because she felt like we weren't talking. When we talked, we weren't talking about anything serious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want your thoughts on that, right? Because I would like make the, we would make the time to be like, hey, how you been? You know, or how you doing? Like, because we was dating, right? But we went to different high schools, so I would tell her about my day, and she'd tell me about hers. But then there wasn't really much, I guess, meaningful conversation. I don't know, right? So I mean, I always just assume it's me, right?
Mhm.
But I guess I can't always do that.
Yeah, you can't,
You
that's
know
not
what's-
fair.
Yeah, it's a
So-
two-way street.
Yeah, because I'd make the time, be like, hey, what you doing? What you watching? What you? Oh, did you see this? And I try to like spark up some stuff. But she said, our conversations always start off with, hey, what are you doing? Right? And I was like, because I want to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, how are you
Are
doing?
you free
Like,
to talk? Like,
right. And I call her and we talk on FaceTime or whatever. But do you think you got to talk to your significant other every day if y'all are like, I guess, longer distance?
Or just
not
talk to
not
your
like,
significant-
I don't mean like talk for hours, but like a 5-minute thing.
Do you feel like you have to communicate with your significant other through text, like every day, or
Every day.
through call every day?
Right. Or can there be some breaks in between? Like,
I feel as though, to be honest, like that question is really subjective. It really depends on what works best for y'all. You see what I'm saying? Like, and again, it goes communication. Seeing like, so one thing I know I like to ask guys up front, like, what's your preferred method of communication? Like, do you like to text, talk, FaceTime, that sort of thing? I know for me, definitely in person, but when you can't see somebody in person, like, thank the Lord we have FaceTime now. Like, I can, you see what I'm saying? We can call, because I feel as though, like, again, with texting or whatever, like, it's too much, like, trying to have like meaningful conversations via that platform, via that method, and then a lot of stuff could get misconstrued via text. Like, I don't know your tone, I don't know your body language, I don't know the vibe that you're trying to get me. You see what I'm saying, or whatever. So like that's too much. So like I like to ask that first, and then two or whatever, like kind of gauge and see, okay, how this is going. Now, me personally, so I'm gonna give you my personal. What I feel is, and what I've experienced with guys that I've dated, 9 times out of 10, typically I hear from them each and every day. Like, we reaching out to each other each and every day. The last guy I actually was dating, we used to video chat because he did not have an iPhone or whatever. We used to video chat literally every single day.
It was an Uber.
Huh? No, we were on Facebook Messenger. Y'all don't sleep on Facebook Messenger.
Hey, you know the great
Don't sleep. I was like, I forgot. Like, Uber's don't exist.
That's like,
Like, what is going
I
on?
was talking about expert Google doing
That's what you doing.
Oh, heck no. Ratchet.
I was.
Kick
I
was
mean, when I was
so
a
ratchet
kid-
to me.
When I was a kid.
Oh no, I was not.
I was
Kick
on
was
Kick
not
I
for
was
me.
on Kick heavy. But have y'all ever like video chatted on Snapchat, bro? Y'all
I did
never
on
video chatted?
Instagram.
I did it.
I did on Instagram.
I did it. Nah, that was like I didn't always have an iPhone
Yeah,
back
I
then.
didn't
So
either.
I didn't always have an
That was
iPhone back then. So
weird.
the only way I could like do
Look,
it.
Little boy got on the computer. Can I use the computer for 30
The
minutes?
only way I could do it
oh
was
my
through
gosh.
Snapchat. Like it was.
That is, but just look how far we come with technology. Like,
I feel like with that, like it should be easier to conversate with people. Like we got converse.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I was like, should I correct him or
I'm
what?
sorry.
I'm gonna let it be great.
I'm sorry. Converse with people, because tap away. You tap away, click, call, hey. You know, you gotta wait for the little thing, but it's like a couple seconds.
Yeah, but it's crazy how we can communicate. Like it's right here instantly at our hands, at our fingertips, but people still don't know how to do that, or still don't do that. So I guess like going back to your question or whatever, it really depends on you. Like that worked for us. We love that. Like literally, like y'all heard this from me, but like I would be at work or whatever, and like he work remotely, he'll be doing his thing or whatever, and I be doing my thing at work. But again, we just wanted to be in each other's presence on the call, you know, type of thing, and then still get home and probably see him later on that night. You see what I'm saying, or whatever. So like that's what worked for us. And I know too with several guys that I've dated in the past, like even if it's just a hey, how you doing today? I'm just checking in, or we just got on the phone and we just talked for 10 minutes just to check in and see how you like. That's fine or whatever, you know, for me. So I think, you know, if you're not doing the everyday thing, you should be communicating. It's 7 days out of the week or whatever, depending on where level you're at, you know, kind of in your relationship or the dating or whatever, you should be communicating, I would say at least 3 times a week, like you know, just a check-in. And of course, like typically as you continue to elevate in your friendship relationship, like it starts to, you know, pick up a little bit. However, to me, I can't see how you can go days or week without communicating with me, and then just pop back up. Hey girl, how you doing? Hey boy, what you doing today? You alright? Like to me, like what? Because my thing is, how are we building? How are we like building and growing what we have if we're not communicating? To me, that makes no sense.
Any last piece of advice for the people that you want to give?
Last piece of advice.
Plug yourself. Tell them about
You know what? I'm gonna plug myself. But I guess my last piece of advice would be self-love first. Know your worth. At the end of the day, you don't know who you're gonna be doing life with, but you know for a fact you're doing your life with you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So always pitch you first. Because sometimes you have to be selfish in order to be selfless. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. I'll plug myself in. So again, my name is Day Essence Cox. I know where I work, a lot of people call me Miss Essence, but I'm Day Essence, go by Essence. Also call myself the Cuffly Connoisseur. I am the founder of Cuffly Ever After. My brand is a platform that promotes intentional and healthy dating. Help us single folks to embrace our singleness journey and know that it's not a curse, but it's a time for us to love us and really to go out there and achieve and conquer our goals. And when we're doing that, I'm telling you, that attracts the people that you want into your life. And so definitely check your girl out. I'm a certified dating coach. Follow me on Instagram and on Facebook. I hope y'all still have Facebook. Okay, definitely make sure y'all follow me. Website coming soon. And I want to thank the Hood Nerds for having me on the podcast, and I'm looking forward to being back. This is really good.
Lovely Miss Essence, everybody.
We'll have part 2.
We'll have part 2.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we out.
We out. Tell someone you love them.
Tell somebody you love them. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate y'all for your time. 1, 2, 3. We out.
Take that.
No, appreciate y'all. This was really good. Like this, no, this is like really good.